Chalo, so you've seen the bike, you know what I've got, handlebar risers, the dash bars, the ballbusters, that's about it, and the comfort seat. You're gonna find the stock setup just perfect for yourself. You do not get the kind of suspensions you get on this bike on any other bike. Unfortunately, my back started hurting, and okay, comfort in terms of Pillion. Comfort in terms of going distances. Good morning, it's such a lovely day. Sun shining, getting warm, it's not as cold as it used to be. Oh yeah, I like it, I do. Okay. So we're here trying to do the review for the GS310. This is gonna be my I'm not gonna call this my fourth attempt, but this is the fourth time I'm recording. Alright, so I'm just gonna get out of this place. I'm gonna park the bike, very quickly give you a bit of a look at me. Yeah, so you can see how my bike looks. I haven't done a lot of modifications. I've kept things very simple, and the reason is that I only do modifications that I think are useful, that makes sense. Don't modify just because modifications are cool. Having said that, and I say that a lot, let's find me a spot where I can show you the bike. Let me stop here. Perfect. Let me get down very quickly. Alright, there's the bike. So I hope you can see it clearly. I'm showing you the dogs for a bit. They're all agitated about something. कोई तो आ गया होगा इनके एरिया में. So this is the bike. Yep. The only thing that you're gonna see on the bike are the crash guards, the handlebar protectors, blockbusters. Yeah, is there anything else that you can see? Yeah, the handlebar risers. These are the Rox risers, 52mm. Add a bit of comfort cushion in the seat. That's all I got. Nothing else. The reason is nothing else is needed. Other than you might want to have some auxiliary lights. I don't really enjoy night drives a lot. There's a section on the video where you will see me riding at night, just commuting back from office. And you can see how the light is and all that stuff. I'm going to keep it for that. But yeah, I don't have aux lights because I don't enjoy night riding much. So that's that. I think it's a very comfortable bike. The ergonomics on this bike is pretty good. It's a tall bike. The stance is nice. The sitting posture is good. If you are anywhere between 5'6" to 5'8", touching 5'9", sort of like that, you're gonna find the stock setup just perfect for yourself. Except obviously the seat height, which I think you get a lower seat height option. And adding to that, the suspension is so nice and soft that you don't really feel height all that much. The moment you sit on it, the bike's gonna plant itself nicely, and that is something that the GS does well in all its platforms, in all its bigger CC bike, small CC bike, whatever it is. I think that's the USP they carried forward successfully. Yeah, that's pretty good. So let me tell you a little bit about my story in terms of comfort. When I got the bike, I was riding back from the showroom to my home, and it's about a 30-minute ride. And unfortunately, my back started hurting, and I was not expecting that, but it's not because of the bike. Let me be clear about that. I realized that later on. It's not because of the bike, it's anyways because I have back issues, so it started hurting me because the stock setup for me was not perfectly, it was not optimum. I'm about 5'10", quarter to 11, something like that. and so I was feeling a bit forward on the bike, and I got myself the risers, not these. First, I got myself the 38 risers, which did the job, honestly, which did the job. But then I got myself the higher risers, the rocks risers. The reason because I wanted to go off-roading. So I got this bike mainly because I wanted to, do off-roads and stuff. Uh, I wouldn't say mainly. I have not done a lot of off-roading. I also intend to use this for my touring right now. It does a great job. But coming back, so yeah, the handlebar risers, I got them. They are pretty decent. They actually completely changed my seating posture, made it perfect. My backache's gone. I sit upright in that triangular, 90-degree triangular position. The foot pegs are placed at an angle, at a spot where my legs are not absolutely straight in a very uncomfortable way, but sort of like slightly at about 25 degrees or something like that, which is very comfortable for a bike like this. It gives you the freedom to move, the sense if you want to quickly get up. You don't find yourself too ahead on the bike, or you don't find yourself struggling to get ahead. Yeah, so that is perfect. The seat, the stock seat in itself is actually very comfortable. It's very comfortable. I got some comfort cushioning done to the stock seat, but I don't think it was absolutely necessary. Not that it's bad. It obviously only adds on to it. It makes everything a little better, but it was not required really. So if you're not a very heavy person, you're not gonna need it either. Your general stock setup would do. So if you are anywhere above 5'9", all you need is the handlebar risers, and you'll be fine in terms of complete ergonomic comfort. You will be home. So keep that in mind. And that's about comfort. I'm not missing anything, I guess. Okay, so comfort in terms of ergonomics sorted. Let's talk about the suspension. The suspension is the key thing, my friends. Let me tell you something. In this segment, which is the 300 to 400cc segment, I don't think, and I personally feel very strongly about it, because I've ridden quite a few bikes. I've tested quite a few bikes. I had a few bikes with me before this, and I can tell you that in this segment, you do not get the kind of suspensions you get on this bike on any other bike. Okay, you don't. Like, the Express has a great suspension, the Himalayan also has a great suspension. I'm not going to talk much about the suspension travel and all of that stuff. I'm just going to talk about how the suspension works. The suspension on this bike is beautiful in the terms that it's quite plush, and you can notch it up by a few points depending on how heavy you are. So I currently am on stock setup, and when I sit on this bike, I kind of reach a straight angle on the ridge of the bike. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna notch it up maybe 2 points or so that the angle is slightly forward. That would improve the controlling and make the handling more engaging and agile. I'm gonna try and do that, but yeah, so a few notches, you get a few notches to adjust it. And I think there's a great review about suspension by Motor Beam, if I'm not wrong. You should watch that about suspension, and you'll realize how you should adjust it for yourself. Wow, it's a windy day. I hope you can hear me though. So yeah, comfort in terms of ergonomics, sorted. Comfort in terms of suspension, sorted. What else? Yeah. Okay, comfort in terms of Pillion. Not so happy about that, but that's okay. So the thing is, this being a small CC bike, the problem is carrying a person, because anyway, when you have a Pillion on your bike, it takes away 50% of the bike's agility, or it takes away your ability to be agile on the bike by as much as 50%. It just does. The braking goes down by 50%, the maneuverability goes down, the lean angles go down. Also depending on how your pillion is. So yeah, I mean, I don't enjoy having a pillion on this bike. I don't think this bike was designed to have a pillion. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have an option, you have a pillion. I think your general setup should be a few notches high on the suspension, so it's a little on the stiffer side. That should, make life easier. That should. But again, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about it from the point of view of making life easier. I'm talking from the point of view of having fun. And having pillion is not so much fun on this bike. I would not do it. So what is that? Comfort in terms of going distances. So I've taken this bike on a long ride. We went to Dudhwa National Park, Dudhwa Tiger Reserve, and you can see the video somewhere. You can watch it. It was about 400 kilometers ride. I did not have any issues at all, even on highway rides, because so this bike can do good speeds, okay? It's not like it can't do speeds. And having said that, again, do not compare the speed of this bike or the power of this bike with something that's bigger or something that is designed, for example, the RR, to go faster. So that's going to be stupid. And I think in my night video, I've spoken a bit about the character of the bike.
Just the optimum amount of delivery with the torque that it has on every gear that makes this bike's character beautiful. So you want to buy a bike, you look at the character. You don't just look at the power figures or the torque figures. You don't do that. That's kind of stupid.
And if you think about the character of the bike, so the character of this bike is, it's not a speedster. It's not just a commuter. It's not just an off-roader. You can definitely take this bike off-road. It does a great job. It's a mix of all of it. So you can use it for commuting, you can use it for off-roading and adventure, and you can also use it for travels. And if you use it for travels, you're not going to feel bad at all, because it does a great job on the highway. It can easily, you can keep cruising at 110, 120 for a very long time, and it stays fine. So, it's a great razor that way. And I did not have any issues whatsoever on the Dudhwa ride with this bike. We did not have a lot of stops. I didn't even feel like I needed to stop very often, but stopping is logical, so every hour or two you stop, have some water, have some food, whatever. But other than that, if there was a wild alien chasing me on a Dudhwa ride, I wouldn't really stop at all. Yeah, there would be a timeout and be fine. So that's about the highway rides. Let me tell you a little story about earlier. We went to Bandhavgarh, and that time I had the Versys 650 with me. And obviously, Versys 650, power twin, so much power, so much comfort. Of course, all of that package on that bike is 10 times of this. Actually, I'd say what? 10 times of this. Quite a lot. On that bike, you would travel 2,000, 3,000 kilometers, come back home, and you'd feel you just went for a Sunday morning breakfast ride. That's how it is. And this is almost like that, by the way. Really. You don't feel so tired. The only thing is, the power bit is the fact that it just makes getting the job done a lot easier when you have more power. So on one of the ride, on the Versys, they were great highways, okay, and I was able to, at stretches, cruise at 160, 170 on brilliant 6-lane highways for, long durations, like for about 45 minutes to an hour. We were just cruising at 170. That was brilliant. But when we reached our destination finally, and we kind of realized what might have been, the average speed that we managed on the ride, it wasn't any more than, between 95 to 120, somewhere in that bracket. And when you think about it like that, you realize that on this bike, you would get the same average even if you are cruising at 100 constantly. Yeah, even if you're cruising at 110, 120. Because you don't get to cruise at high speeds for a very long time. There's a noisy bike next to me. Anyway, so since you can't do it for a very long time on Indian roads because there are brilliant drivers here, awesome two-wheeler riders in our country, and obviously there are other beings that are commuting on the road. Yeah, like the dogs, the cows, snakes, not so much. I can see snakes on a bike, but if you know what I mean. But yeah, so you really can't, set the pace like that. You just can't. So yeah, you can't do a lot of speeds for very long durations. Keeping that in mind, you realize that the highway comfort of this bike is awesome as well.